Welcome to the podcast. So today I'm going to be talking about environmental control for success. What the fuck does that mean? Basically, that means optimizing your environment to set yourself up for success when you are trying to implement a new habit or make a new routine or develop a new behavior pattern, right? And this one I think is so useful. And people don't necessarily put in as much effort as is needed to actually get it done. And they make it so much harder than it needs to be. But it's actually fairly simple. It's the process of looking at your life, looking at your environment, and being like, okay, I want to make a change. I want to develop a new habit. Let's use the example going for a morning walk, right? Because I keep harping on this, right? Because it's the one that I built and I'm happy about it, successful, doing the thing. And so how did I implement this? I've been doing it for a couple months now, going for morning walks successfully 3 times a week. And one of the things that I did as part of my 5-step process that I'll be teaching in my new course on how to build a better breakfast. But it is essentially going through an actual checklist of what the fuck do I need to get this thing done, right? So for me, that looked like, okay, what are all the actual material items that I need to successfully go for a morning walk, right? So I need shoes, I need clothes. I might need sunglasses, I might need a hat, depending on the time of day, how high the sun is, I might need some sunscreen, a fanny pack for my phone because I want to carry it with me, some headphones so I can listen to a podcast, and I also wanted a cup of coffee because that's my motivator. That's one of the things of like, I'm going to go on this walk and I'm going to listen to a cool podcast and I'm going to drink my cup of coffee. Those are all the material items that I needed, right? But what else did I need? So obviously I need coffee. Right? I can either make it the morning of, or I can have some that I made the day before to have in the morning. I need house keys, right? So I went through and I wrote out a whole checklist of the material items that I would need in order to successfully complete the task. And you can use this the same way as if like you were building breakfast or you were meal prepping, right? What are all the ingredients that you need to build a meal? And then you're going to go to the store and you're going to make a grocery list and you're going to buy all those ingredients, right? You're also, you got to have a fully stocked kitchen, right? So you got to have the pots and the pans and the spatulas and whatever it is that you use to make your meal. You need all of those things, a knife, a cutting board, all of those things. You have to have the ingredients to be able to do the task. What's the bare minimum, right? Sneakers, clothes. All the other stuff is superfluous, but if you want the experience to be enjoyable, add in all those things, right? So I made this whole list, this checklist of items that I would need. But what also do I need? I need a mindset, a positive mindset that I can actually do this thing. I need evidence of success that I can do this, that I've done this before. So what did I do? I sat down and I was like, okay, cool. I used to Ironman train, right? I was training, I've done 4 Ironman races, right? And when I trained for that, when I was in the height of my triathlon career, I was doing morning workouts at 5:30 in the morning, right? And I was able to get up and do the thing. Now, obviously, some people, you're not able to do that, but you're able to get up and go to work, right? So what is it that allows you to do that? There's something, obviously, you have to be there, you have to make money, you have to show up, all of that. But there's a driver that is pushing you to not be late for work. In the same way that there's a driver pushing me to get up and go for this morning walk. So I thought about the mindset that I would need in order to be able to get up out of bed and have a morning walk, right? What obstacles might I encounter? What resistance? What feelings? What thoughts? What unhelpful thoughts of self-sabotage? If you reflect back on last week's podcast where I talked about self-sabotage, how is that going to show up? And, I went through the process of anticipating what might happen, okay? And what would I need in my environment that would support that, those unhelpful thoughts coming up? What would support that? So I was like, okay, cool. Well, if I'm having negative thoughts and I'm like spiraling, not wanting to do the thing, encountering some resistance, having some positive affirmations might push me to be like, oh, okay, I can do this thing. It's going to make me feel better. Knowing what the benefits are, right? That's a driver, right? So I wrote out all the benefits of a morning walk and I put it on a piece of paper and then I wrote out some affirmations that were like, when I go for a morning walk, I get to see the sun and I get to be outside and I get to listen to a cool podcast and I feel good and I get to move in my body and that feels good. And then I'm energized and excited for the day. And so I wrote that on a little Post-it note and I put it on my mirror. And then I put one that was right on the nightstand by my bed. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to want to gather everything in the morning, because if I have to do extra work, and this is one of the things that, like, when you are trying to implement a new habit, a new behavior, new routine, you want to take out all of the decision making. You want to have it systemized. You want to have it as efficient as possible so you don't have to make any decisions. Because the more decisions that you have to make, the more exhausted that you'll get. Every decision uses up some of your brain power, right? And there are only so many decisions that we can make in a day. So you're eliminating decisions from your morning, which means that you have to make those decisions prior to getting to your morning, right? And in the same way that you're gonna meal prep before you make your meal and then eat your meal, before you meal prep, you need to know your ingredients and you need to know what you're making. So you need a recipe and you need to go and get the ingredients and set everything up before you can actually do it. And it really does help if you make your decisions of what you're making before you get to the store so that you know what to buy. Having that checklist, both of the physical materials that you're going to need, but also the mental mindset hacks, tools, tips, affirmations, whatever it is that's going to get you to drive yourself to get out of bed, to do the thing, right? That was really helpful. And learning to use that as a form of setting yourself up for success is really, really useful. So if you're looking at building a new habit, what are all the things that you need to get the thing done, right? And then actually setting it up, right? So you have the mindset, you have the materials, and then you set it up. I put the checklist on my mirror, and I thought about what exactly does my evening routine look like the nights before I go for a morning walk, right? What do I want it to look like? And for me, that was I eat dinner, I sit at the TV, watch some shows, and then, I feel tired at around 9 o'clock and I go to bed, right? What does my process of going to bed look like, right? Can I gather all the items for my walk during that time, right? So I get up from the couch and I go to the kitchen and I fill my water glass. Could I, while I'm in the kitchen, take out my coffee mug and make sure that I have coffee available for me, right? I could do that. It's going to take a little extra step. And then I walk from the kitchen to the bedroom and I walk by my dresser. Could I take my clothes out for the walk, right? And put them by my bed? I could do that. And I'm also going to walk by the area where I keep my sunglasses and my little fanny pack. I could take those out, put them on the table with my headphones, have them in a little spot right by the door. So I've gathered all the things on my way to the bathroom where I'm going to brush my teeth, get ready for bed, do my nighttime routine, all that jazz. As I'm brushing my teeth, I'm reading the checklist of items off of my mirror that I put in there. So I can go through the list and be like, oh, I got that, I got all the things that I need, right? So I've gone through the whole checklist, and then I have the little Post-it notes that I can read that'll tell me how good it'll feel to go for this walk. So this whole process is me setting up my environment for success in the morning, right? I'm doing this the night before, okay? I'm not doing it in the morning. Now, one of the things that we do like to think about is on those days where we didn't have time to do it the night before, on those days where we are running late in the morning, on those days where it's fucking raining, or the weather's trash, or what are all the obstacles? Now that's another podcast and that's another step. But this step is all about setting yourself up for success using your environment. And one thing I like to do is I like to think of it kind of like I'm preparing for a trip. What are all the things that I need to pack? I need to pack all my clothes. I need to pack these items. And I need to pack a certain mindset of, I am capable of doing this thing. So I'm going to put that in my little suitcase, and I'm going to take it with me. And in the morning, I'm going to have it all ready to go. I don't even have to think about it. And I can just call my Uber and head out the door. So we'll get into obstacles and challenges and working through resistance in another episode. But I really wanted this one to be about learning how to use your environment to set yourself up for success. And being very, very intentional and strategic and breaking it down into the smallest fucking thing. Like, you think it's stupid because you're like, but obviously. But morning brain says all kinds of things. Morning brain says, oh no, you can't. Morning brain comes up with all of these excuses why you can't get out of bed and go for a morning walk. It's cold. There's a dog on your bed. You're cuddling. The coffee's not made. Whatever it is, you know these things are going to happen. You know the excuses are going to be there. So why wouldn't you make it easier on yourself? Somebody I listened to, and I don't remember who it was, talks a lot about preparing for your future self and like being compassionate for them and their journey and their situation. Of like, you know she's going to wake up and she's going to be struggling and it's going to be hard and she's not going to want to make a decision. So make it for her. Make the decisions before you have to get out of bed and do the thing, right? So whatever your habit is, as I've brought up multiple times, I'm working on this course on how to build a better breakfast. Ooh, that's a lot for the tongue there. But it essentially is going to help you navigate how to, not only are you adding more protein to your breakfast, which is, I think, one of the most important things, one of the first things that I teach all my clients to do is add more protein. It helps you feel satiated longer. It works through cravings. You have more energy. You have more focus. It's not a golden pill, but like I said previously in other episodes, working on one habit compounds into other areas of your life. So if you can develop the skill to work through building a better breakfast in the morning, you're going to be able to use the skills that you learn to work through that resistance in other areas, right? So like maybe you have resistance towards going to the gym. Totally understandable. Gyms are fucking awful. Unless you're going to a private gym, but I can't afford that. So I go to a public gym. There's a lot of people. It's crowded. It's stressful. There's a lot of anxiety. So learning to work through the resistance that comes up around developing your new behaviors, I think that's one of the most important things that people struggle with. And that's why we hire coaches. That's why we hire support. Sure, you could go off and try and do this all on your own. Absolutely. But we all deserve to have a level of support on our journey, and we all deserve community. I want us all to sort of go on this journey together of learning how to develop a new behavior and work through the obstacles and resistance that comes up. And I think starting with breakfast is so important because breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And if you're not having breakfast and you're struggling and you're exhausted and you're unable to focus and you're low energy and you just feel like you're at a plateau with your body change goals, that could be why. I mean, there are many factors at play, but I think breakfast is one of those ones where people just don't ever develop the skills to implement it because it's the most hectic part of the day. Like, we're busy, we got to get out the door. If you have kids, you have to deal with that whole situation. If you have a job you have to commute to, you might be eating a granola bar in the car and think that that's enough, and it's not. No judgment though, because I have been that person. I have been that person that ate a cookie for breakfast because that was the easiest thing I could grab. I mean, to be honest, if we're being real, this morning for breakfast, I had a fucking hash brown and a protein shake because that's what I had because I haven't gone to the grocery store. We all struggle. Even me as a habit change coach and someone who teaches nutrition, like, I go through my moments. But I still managed to have a protein-packed breakfast, and I still managed to actually have something to eat, right? So all that to say, if you're interested, I'm going to have a wait list. You can sign up below, and it'll be coming out soon. You'll be a founding member. It's going to be rad. I'm really excited about it. So pay attention to that, and yeah. hopefully you found this episode useful. Hopefully I didn't go on too many tangents. And thanks for listening. Ciao!